Guys, so I'm going to cover smile lines today using acrylic. So you'll be using this for French, whether it be a white tip or coloured tip. I'm going to come in with my acrylic bead and I'm going to place it where I want the smile line to stop. Okay, so as that's set, I'm going to pat it and just move it up, keeping it tidy. The more tidy you can get it, the less filing you'll have to do at the end. So if you can get that sharp line in now, it will be a lot easier for you in the long run, so you're not there trying to correct it or take more away. I'm just adding a second bead. I mean, you can do this in one whole bead if you prefer, but this is for the beginners out there. Now I'm just blending it in, taking it up the side, spinning it round, pat, 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 using the tummy of the brush and not the tip. So a lot of beginners prefer to work in smaller beads. That's not an issue. Do whatever works comfortable for you and how you can get the best results for yourself. It's not about how we work or trying to do anything a particular way. As if it works for you, great, stick at it, you're doing it right. Okay, so I've just added another little bead at the cuticle area and I've just blended that in and making sure it's smooth. So don't worry too much though, we are going to come in and file the shape back in. Okay, so just make sure you've got enough acrylic on there. You want it to be deep enough as well, because when you do apply the white or the colour that you're going to use, you want there to be enough of a wall for it to butt up against. So you don't want to be really thin here, because you're going to put the white on and then when you're filing it away, you're going to come in and you're going to take the excess away. So that's how thick I do it roughly. You can do it thicker, it doesn't matter. There's no rules and regulations regarding this. It is what works better. So while this is drying, guys, I just want to show you, if you're ever unsure when your acrylic is set, it makes a dull sound. Okay, this is still a little bit tacky, so at this point I wouldn't be going in and filing because it'll make a mess of the acrylic. So we want to wait for it starting to, what you want to dry it there back. You hear the difference on that one. Okay, right, so this is now fully set. Listen. Okay, so it has a complete different sound when you tap it. So I'm going to come in with my file now and I'm going to keep it up straight. And we're going to file around that smile line. Make sure there's no bumps and it's really smooth, because when you put the acrylic on for the French, it is going to show up. And take it a little bit higher if it's a bit thinner there and run it round. Move your client's hand around if you feel more comfortable doing that. Okay, so I filed that into shape now. Still left the depth of the smile line. So I'm going to bring in my white acrylic. I'm going to place it at the bottom, overlapping. It doesn't matter because you're going to file that away. Now, if you use an e-file, that's great, because that will help to reveal the smile line. If not, then I would, just for your sanity, I would advise trying to push it up just a little bit so there's not loads of overlapping, otherwise you'll be there filing for a while. And we all know how that is on our wrists, don't we? If e-filing is something that you're interested in, I do also offer a certified e-file course. Okay, so I'm just filling in the rest now. Okay, so like I said, don't worry about the overlap. Keep your brush clean as well, because whites really do get in there. Make it as tidy as you can. Fill in anywhere you might feel, oh, there might be a little gap there. Do it in as many beads as you need to, but try to just keep the ratio consistent, otherwise you'll have different blends of it, which will cause shadowing. Okay, so I'll let that dry and we'll come back. Okay, so now that's fully dry, we're going to come in and file the side walls. Then the free edge. And then I'm getting the e-file. And I'll do half e-file and half by hand for those that don't e-file. So we're just going to gently run the e-file over. We don't go in too hard because it will just take a big gouge out of it and you'll lose the shape completely. I'm going to work around the area where we know the smile line is, following the shape. But we want to keep it crisp, so like I said, no digging in. Remove the bulk. If you do find that you do take a little bit of it away, don't worry too much. You can just pop a bit more acrylic on it. So now I'm going to come in for the hand file. I'm going to follow that shape round. And then I'm going to shape the rest of the nail going from my left to my right, up from the top down to the tip, making sure there's no bumps. I'm arching, I'm going over. So what I'm doing with my file at this point is I'm not holding it flat or straight up against, I'm holding it angled, so I'm following the shape of the nail, curved, okay? So left to right, around the cuticle. You'll be pulling the cuticle back and holding your thumb there to protect the client's skin, so the file will be always rubbing against you first, and the only bit to connect with the client is the edge of the file, and that will only be the acrylic. You won't be going up onto the cuticle. So from the middle and down, you can always turn your client's hand around if you need to, and make sure you're protecting at all times to get the shape in. I always, no matter what, I always hand file at the end. I always finish with a hand file. If you've got any dips or a bit more thickness, then you can just remove that by refining the areas you need to, but making sure that you're sticking to the shape that you need. So your apex always needs to come down. So as you can see, there's a bit of a dip here, so I could come back in, add a little bit more acrylic and then file it, but with this I need to bring it down slightly here. Working on tips is a bit more awkward because you haven't got the natural shape. You have to follow the tip shape, don't you? So we just blend that as much as we can on here. Okay, so once you're happy, another way to check the straightness of the nail is to get the client to hold the nail up, so as though they're looking at it. File flat. So I don't file that way at this point, I file like that. So that's what the client will see. So make sure your side walls are straight, double checking your work as you're going, and then when you're happy you can move on to the next. But do you know what my favourite part of everything is? The top coat. The top coat makes everything come together, especially when you do them little designs. And there you go. That is your smile line and French.